This was the nightmare that took place years ago when I was a park ranger. I still remember standing there, feeling dissociated and strange as I looked down on the eerie scene below us. "Oh, God in heaven," Ace whispered in the purple light of the cave. Before us, the bright red hand shot forward and grabbed the body of the headless man. It lifted the corpse up with ease. I watched the beast open its jaw wide enough to throw the corpse in without difficulty. Snapping its mouth shut, it sprayed more blood down its face and across the eroded stone floor in front of it. Dark red stains emanated out across the floor for 20 feet in front of the creature, looking like Rorschach ink blots in the fetid cave. "We need to go deeper in," Jansen said, looking from me to Ace with a serious frown on her face. "What are you, insane?" Ace said. "Do you want to die? There could be thousands of those things down there." But the decision was quickly taken out of our hands as we heard screaming coming from a young, high-pitched voice. We all looked down at once and saw the white humanoid mutants dragging out a young boy, one that I recognized from pictures on the trailer park crime scene wall. He had cuts and scrapes all over him and was shivering, either from hypothermia or fear or both, but he was alive. His eyes were huge as he was dragged forward by his small hands towards the great red insectal beast in the corner. "God damn it," I whispered, looking at Ace and Jansen. "Okay, Jansen and I will take point positions. Ace, you guard the rear. We will form a triangle and start shooting. When one reloads, the other two cover. Ace, you'll need to swing back and periodically check our backs to make sure there is no ambush. Now let's go." They didn't question my command. Neither of them had time to. To save the boy, we needed to move immediately, so we started down the smooth stone floors, only a couple 100 feet away from unknown numbers of enemies. I fired first, aiming my shotgun at the group of mutants nearest to me as quickly as I could pull the trigger. The first shot blew the chest of one open, kept going, hit another in the leg, and ended up blowing chips of stone from the wall behind them. I saw it all in slow motion, my adrenaline pumping and the heightened awareness of battle taking hold. The second shot hit the nearest one in the head. It exploded like a shattering vase, bits of blood and bone flying out in all directions. Then I saw the one holding the boy drops as Jansen hit it with a shot from the rugger. It was an amazing shot, missing the boy entirely and taking off the head of the creature. It looked fairly risky, especially with a pistol, but I could tell she had experience and marksmanship, and yet, personally, I would never have tried from that distance with a hostage in tow with anything less than a rifle. The chance of blowing the hostage's head off seemed far too great. It made me wonder about her impulse control and risk-taking mindset. Who was this woman after all? Then I saw the white mutant continue to hold in the boy's hands for a second, standing on its feet as its mutilated, half-destroyed head kept pumping sprays of blood in the air. Then it fell crumpling slowly to the floor. The black beast in the corner appeared enraged by this point. It gave off a banshee wail that sent out powerful blasts of sound, rising and falling in distinct waves. It sounded like a choked, much deeper version of steam whistle. Instinctually, I wanted to drop my gun and cover my ears to stop the painful shrieking. It seemed even louder than the gunshots. Sometimes I would have said was impossible before hearing it. And worse than all that, the beast was rising to its feet. While it looked fat and slow, and while I knew it'd be full of eggs since we had seen it lay some, it turned out to be much faster than all that would have suggested. It had a huge blood-red belly, but it moved with the grace and speed of a cat. It rose on its 6 legs, its upper body sticking up from the lower insectal carapace like some sort of demented centaur. Its branched legs scattered forward in a centipede-like motion that gave me an instinctive revulsion. But it wasn't running towards us. It was moving away from the gunfire towards a huge entrance. As it went, it grabbed the boy with its inhumanly long, thin arms. I feared it would open its giant giant maw and pop him inside, and that would be the last we would ever see of him. But it didn't. It disappeared, making that shrieking steam whistle cry as it went. My ears were ringing so badly from all the gunshots, the echoes of the gunshots, and the cries of the beasts that I was afraid I had gun deaf for a moment. Ace stood in front of me, moving his lips, but I couldn't tell what the hell he was saying. I said, "What?" I screamed. My hearing slowly returned. "We have to follow the boy," he said. "We cannot lose his trail." I know he was right. The existence of a live hostage had totally changed the situation. We had no backup coming and no way to call for help. We would have to take him all ourselves. It seemed like it was an insane proposition, and the creatures here vastly outnumbered us. But letting a hostage die was never an option for us. "Yeah, no shit," I said glumly. I sighed deeply. We had more ammo in the snowmobiles. I had filled my pockets with extra slugs, but I hadn't expected this. Ace was likely in a similar situation. We faced the choice of either going back and trying to grab as much ammo as we could and possibly losing the hostage, or going forward and running the risk of using up all our ammo, which was, after all, a risk either way. Since we had no idea how many of those things lived in the tunnels, I saw the same thoughts running through Ace's mind as he looked back towards the snowmobiles, then forward to the tunnels. "Let's go," I said, motioning for us to go forwards. "We cannot risk losing the trail. We will put breadcrumbs down as we go, metaphorically, slice of tiny pieces of a jacket or something, so we can find our way back." Based on how many of those goddamn things I saw, he responded, "I think we will be able to just follow the empty shell casings alone." Jensen had already started running forwards by this point, and we had to sprint to keep up. We ran past the eggs, some empty and others throbbing with inner life. I saw the one nearest to me pulsating with blood-red veins, a thin, luminous skin revealing the silhouette of a monstrous insectoid creature inside. It writhed and squirmed, twisting its 6 legs and pushing against the membranes that kept it entombed within the egg from time to time. Soon I know it would push through. How many others had already hatched? How long had this been going on? I had a feeling that we would soon find out. We sprinted into the tunnel, turning on our lid headlamps as we went. Jansen was in the lead, then Ace, then me at the rear. Periodically I checked our backs, but nothing seemed to be following us. Not yet, anyways. All the commotion was in front of us. That creature was still shrieking, though the sound was much more muffled and distant now. To my horror, I heard dozens of responses from all around. Deeper in various tunnels that branched off from the main chamber or from this one. Some sounded very far away and barely audible, but others seemed much closer. I also heard the cries for help from the young boy, though these too grew fainter. We tried running faster, but what could a human's 2 legs do against that scattering monstrosity's 6 legs? Not much, I thought to myself. The tunnel looked empty. That strange mold grew everywhere here as well. We barely even needed the lids to see, though it had so many curves and branches that it was difficult to see far anyways. Every 100 feet or so, another wall appeared, always curving to the left or the right. As we ran, I saw glimmers of what looked like red eyes from some of these smaller side tunnels, but whenever I turned to look, they were gone. It was the same with those who might have followed us. I thought I saw glimpses of a long white hand or a lipless face for a moment, but when I pointed the gun, the thing had slunk back into the shadows or deeper into one of the endless branching tunnels that disappeared around corners in an instant. The shrieking of the beasts had faded into the distance, and an eerie silence descended like a fog. We had all stopped by this point at an intersection of the cave system. One tunnel went off to the left at a right angle, the other to the right at a right angle, and then we had the larger main tunnel we were following that extended in front and behind us. Luckily, we hadn't yet deviated from the main tunnel, so finding our way back should be relatively easy. It felt substantially hotter down here as well. We had descended deeper into the chain of mountains that ran northwards, parallel to the Arctic Ocean. I had opened all of my jackets and taken off my hat, but I still felt boiling hot. I could tell the other 2 did as well. Trickles of sweat dotted their faces, and they were ripping off layers of clothing. They threw a couple jackets on the ground, not wanting to carry them for God knows how long. If we made it out of here, I thought they might regret it, but after miles of walking, I too threw a couple jackets on the ground and left them. After all, when we came back this way to return to the snowmobile, we could just grab them again. Except, of course, we never did come back that way. To be continued.